So we're going to do an experiment with water beads today. And this is going to be a pretty quick experiment in terms of actual activity time, but then in terms of the actual reaction time, it'll be a very, very long one, the longest that we've done so far. So this will be a short video, but there'll be plenty of time for you to see the actual interaction happening with the water beads for the rest of the day. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys my workspace. And first, I want to talk about the materials that we're using in today's experiment. So if you got the box, you should have a small container of water beads that look like this. They're little rainbow beads and they're very small. You can kind of press them and see what they're like, kind of like the Insta Snow. They're very dry and they're very hard. So they're just these like tiny little pellets. And then you can also take a small container and fill it with water. We're going to need that as well. And then the small container, if you have the box from the Insta Snow experiment, so this is the one that you actually poured the water out of. We can reuse that right now. So go ahead and take the empty container and then pick up your water beads and go ahead and pour them in here. Okay, and then take the water and pour it on top of the water beads. You can just fill up the container. So it's going to take a little bit of time for this interaction to occur. So you're going to have to be patient with this one. We have the water in there with the water beads, and unlike the Insta Snow, this is a very, very slow reaction that the polymers are experiencing now. So give it about an hour and you'll start to see the water being absorbed and the water beads growing. And then in about 8 hours, the water beads will have absorbed all of the water and expanded to their full size. So that's what's going to happen. All these individual water beads that are super, super tiny are going to expand to a way bigger size. So why does this happen? After the water beads are put into water, they absorb the water molecules kind of like a sponge, and they take the water molecules and they turn them into a polymer chain. So once the molecules are all absorbed, the polymer chain then starts to expand. And that's why these water beads go from being really, really little to a lot bigger because of the expansion of that polymer chain. So they can grow very, very big compared to their original size, anywhere from 200 to 400 times their original size. So you'll be able to see that in about 8 hours. Just let these guys go, and then eventually they'll be really huge. These are really fun to play with. So once you have them all swollen up, they're going to be a little bit full for this container, so you can pour them into a bigger container and squish them as much as you want. They also bounce, so be really careful, parents especially, with this because they can get everywhere. But I can't wait for you guys to get to play with them and experience how they are at the end of this experiment. So like I said, quick time that we just pour the water into the beads. So the actual experiment is very quick, but waiting for the reaction is very, very long. And that is very, very typical of being a scientist. It's a lot of setting things in motion and then waiting over a long period of time to observe the results. So we're getting a little taste of that today. As you can see right now, my water beads are starting to expand. Before they were all covered by the water and they were kind of down here, but now they're filling up the container. So as we're patient, we'll see that happen even more. Thank you guys so much for doing this experiment with me, and I can't wait to hear your questions.